Just breaking the cabinet.
Exactly.
Right? Give it 1 minute. Give it 1 minute. Oh, President's here. Good to go. You were looking for me. Oh, okay. I was right there. No, I was talking to my flock. Yes. Rosh Hashanah era.
Totally different from here, but I'll remember that. For the women, that's for me, right? That's what I'm gonna. You know what? I'll sing that too.
I have A. Okay, that's A-B-B-A.
Welcome back for our afternoon service. It's great to see you here. As we continue along, a reminder that this service was originally Musaf. It was the afternoon service that replaced the sacrificial offering in the temple in Jerusalem. So what's a Reformed Jew to do who doesn't pray for the return of the sacrificial offering in Jerusalem? Well, if you remember back to the Red Book of Gates of Repentance, throughout our history we have come up with different creative alternatives, telling the story of our history, listening to the testimonies of others, joining together in song. And so we do just as this prayer book does, readings, reflections, moments of testimony. And we turn to our story as we pray together in this afternoon service. Page 327, we continue responsively. Jacob had a dream, a ladder set on the ground, with its top reaching the sky, and angels of God were ascending and descending the ladder.
Our sages taught, the Holy One said, "Jacob, you must climb as well." But Jacob was afraid, and he did not climb up.
We want to climb higher, but we're tired. And there's so much to do, and we don't know how to rise.
God of becoming, whose name means, I will be what I will be. You are the unfinished one, ever unfolding, evolving with your creation. Made in your image, we too are fluid, ever becoming who we will be.
Keep us alive to possibilities. Show us a path to grow in mind, heart, and spirit. Help us to find the strength to ascend. Page 328, responsively. We give thanks today for a Torah of life, the way of kindness, mercy, and truth.
May compassion be our source of sustenance now, as in our peoples past.
May our souls withstand times of crisis and our hearts the inclination to evil.
May the covenant of Abraham and Sarah strengthen our will to do what is right.
May the qualities of mercy and goodness, love and forgiveness flow through our lives.
And let us be strong in a perilous world. Let us open our hearts to the path of Torah.
Vayhi b'nso Aaron, vayomer Moshe. When the ark set out in the wilderness, Moses would say, "Go forward, Adonai. May your enemies be scattered. May your enemies flee before you." Page 329, we rise as we take the Torah from the ark. Prepare for our Torah service.
Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Israel b'kidushatom. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Hanorah Shemo, Gadlu Adonai iti, Unaromama Shemo Yakda. Lecha Hagadu, 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 Havti Eret Netzach V'Haron. Ki kol Hashamayim U'Haaretz, Ki kol Hashamayim U'Haaretz. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehad kosho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romamu ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehad kosho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehad kosho. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
No, come over. I'm just saying, hope we got the right. I don't know.
I'm in the one with the tribes.
Nitzavim, no?
No, I'm good.
Kedoshim. Hang on a second. It's getting late in the day. I'm sorry. It was 100% until now. That's all right. We already read this one this morning, but we loved it so much.
Sorry.
It's not your fault. Go for it. Yes. I'll bring all that out here. We'll do a switch out. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It happens, it's all right. Of course, somebody at home right now is like, what's going on at the temple? Such a good portion, we're reading it twice. I'm just kidding, Linda. Don't worry about that. We're going to switch out. Take a moment to talk amongst yourself. You must owe somebody an apology.
That one back up there.
I'll bring it down. Israel. Al pi
Ad Moshe.
Beautiful. And for our Aliyah to the Torah, we call up Jenny Solomon, Ta'amod Likro et Torah. Linda Hoffman is our Torah reader. The blessings for the reading of Torah are on page 330. That's important because you have to flip. So if you want to follow the blessings, they're on 330. If you want to follow the Torah portion Linda's reading, that's on 339. And it's from the Holiness Code. And good. So yes, very important Torah portion in the smack middle of the Torah. I have not counted, but others with more time on their hands than I can attest to the fact that this is the exact middle of the Torah, some of the guidelines and rules for life. We listen now as we listen to the Aliyah, and happy to do it. Oh no, it's for you.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Ha'olam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el kol adat b'nei Yisrael. Ve'amarta alehem kedoshim to you. Ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. Ishimo ve'aviv tira'u ve'et shabbatotai tishmaru ani Adonai Elohechem. El tifnu el ha'elim ve'lohei masecha lo ta'asu lachem ani Adonai Elohechem. V'chi tizbechu zevach shelamim l'Adonai l'tzonechem tizbechu b'yom zivchachem yeyachel u'mimacharat v'hanotar ad yom hashlishi be'esh yisaref. Ve'im ha'echol ye'achel b'yom hashlishi pigulhu lo yiratzeh ve'ochalav avono yisa Ki et kodesh Adonai Hillel v'nach nichrata hanefesh hahi me'ameha uvkutzrechem et kitzir artzachem lo tichale pe'at tzarcha liktzor v'leket kitzircha lo tilaket v'charmelcha lo tilel uferet karmelcha lo tilaket le'ani v'lager tazov otam ani Adonai Elohechem lo tiknovu v'lo techachashu v'lo tishakru ish ba'amito v'lo tishavu bishmi lashaker v'chilalta et shem Elohecha ani Adonai lo tashok et reacha v'lo tigzol lo talin piulat sachir itcha ad boker lo tikalel cheresh v'lifnei iver lo titain michshol v'areta melohecha ani Adonai lo tasu avel b'mishpat lo tisaf medal v'lo tehedar panei gadol b'tzedek tishpot amitecha lo telech rachil b'yamecha lo tamod al dam reyecha ani Adonai lo tisna et achicha bilvavecha hocheach tochiach et amitecha v'lo tisalav chet.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
We're going to dress the Torah. We are not going to return it to the ark just yet. We are going to dress the Torah. Thank you, Karen, for coming up. I'd like to ask the congregation to please rise for a moment as we lift the Torah. Okay, here we go. We continue with our Haftarah reading. And, before our Haftarah reading, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We take a moment to listen to a reflection about this Yom Kippur day. Michael and Jen Appleman will be coming to the Bima.
This reflection is titled All in the Family by Rachel Naomi Remen, MD. Dr. Remen writes, "We can do violence to life in many ways. Many years ago, I was invited to hear a well-known rabbi speak about forgiveness at a Yom Kippur service. Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement, when Jews everywhere reflect on the year just past, repent their shortcomings and unkindness, and hope for the forgiveness of God. But the rabbi did not speak about God's forgiveness.
Instead, he walked out into the congregation, took his infant daughter from his wife, and carrying her in his arms, stepped up to the bima, or podium. The little girl was perhaps a year old, and she was adorable. From her father's arms, she smiled at the congregation. Every heart melted. Turning toward her daddy, she patted him on the cheek with her tiny hands. He smiled fondly at her, and with his customary dignity began a rather traditional Yom Kippur sermon, talking about the meaning of the holiday. The baby girl, feeling his attention shift away from her, reached forward and grabbed his nose. Gently, he freed himself and continued the sermon. After a few minutes, she took his tie and put it in her mouth. The entire congregation chuckled. The rabbi rescued his tie and smiled at his child. She put her tiny arms around his neck. Looking at it over the top of her head, he said, "Think about it. Is there anything she can do that you could not forgive her for?" Throughout the room, people began to nod in recognition, thinking perhaps of their own children and grandchildren. Just then, she reached up and grabbed his eyeglasses. Everybody laughed out loud.
Retrieving his eyeglasses and settling them on his nose, the rabbi laughed as well. Still smiling, he waited for the silence. When it came, he asked, "And when does that stop? When does it get hard to forgive? At 3? At 7? At 14? At 35? How old does someone have to be before you forget that everyone is a child of God?" Back then, God's forgiveness was something easily understandable, but personally, I, Dr. Remen, found forgiveness difficult. She had thought of it as a lowering of standards rather than a family relationship.
There's a reason we heard that beautiful passage at this point in the service. As we turn to page 342 and then 345 for the Haftarah, the story of Jonah, the prophet who cannot forgive. Consider that reading. Dr. Michael Ross will be leading us in the blessings and the reading of the book of Jonah, this strange story of this strange prophet.
Blessing, of course, is on 342. Join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha b'nbi'im tovim, v'ratza b'devrahim ha'ne'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'v'Moshe abdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nbi'ei ha'emet v'tzedech. And the word of Adonai came up to Jonah, son of Amittai. Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh, and proclaim against it, for their evil deeds have risen up before me. But Jonah got up to flee to Tarshish, away from the presence of Adonai. He went down to Jaffa and found a ship headed for Tarshish, and he paid its fare and went down into it to head with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of Adonai. But Adonai hurled a great wind upon the sea, a storm so great that the ship was in danger of being shattered to pieces. And the sailors were frightened, cried out each to his own god. And the sailors were frightened, cried out each to his own god, and flung the ship's cargo into the sea to lighten their load. But Jonah had gone down into the hold, the lower deck of the vessel, and he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. And the captain approached him and said to him, "What are you doing sound asleep? Get up, call to your God. Perhaps the God will be kind to us and we will not perish." And they said, each man to his companion, "Let us cast lots that we might know on whose account this evil event has come to us." So they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah. And they said to him, Tell us, you who have brought this evil upon us, what is your trade? And where have you come from? And what is your country? And who are your people? And he said to them, I am a Hebrew. I revere Adonai, God of heaven, who made sea and dry land. The men felt great fear, and they asked him, what have you done? Because the men knew he was fleeing from Adonai, for he had told them. And they asked him, what should we do to you to bring calm to the sea around us? For the sea was growing more and more stormy. So he said to them, lift me up and hurl me into the sea, and the sea will calm down for you. For I know that this great storm came upon you because of me. And the crew rowed hard to return to the dry land, but they could not do it, for the sea was raging more and more fiercely around them. And they called out to Adonai, saying, please, Adonai, please do not let us perish because of the life of this man. And do not hold us guilty of shedding innocent blood. For you, Adonai, that which you desired you have brought about. And they lifted Jonah up and hurled him into the sea, and the sea stopped raging. The men revered Adonai. Great was their reverence. So they offered to Adonai a sacrifice and made vows. And Adonai provided a great fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah prayed to Adonai, his God, from the belly of the fish, and he said, I called to Adonai in my distress, and God answered me. I cried out from the belly of the netherworld, and you heard my voice. Into the depths you cast me, into the heart of the sea, and the floods engulfed me. All your billowing, breaking waves swept over me. And I thought to myself, I was banished from before your eyes. Will I ever again gaze upon your holy temple? The waters closed in over me, the deep engulfed me, rushes wrapped around my head. I descended to the low point of the mountains. The gates of the earth closed upon me forever. Yet you, Adonai, my God, raised up my life from the pit. When my life fainted away, I called Adonai to mind, and my prayer came to you, to your holy temple. They who cling to empty folly forsake their own welfare. But I, with a shout of thanksgiving, I will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed I will fulfill. Rescue comes to Adonai. Adonai commanded the fish, and it spewed Jonah out upon dry land. And the word of Adonai came to Jonah a second time. Get up, go to that great city of Nineveh, and call out to it the proclamation that I will tell you. So Jonah got up and went to Nineveh according to the word of Adonai. Now Nineveh was a great city, 3 days' journey across. And Jonah started out and made his way into the city, only 1 day walk. And he called out just 5 words in Hebrew, 40 more days and Nineveh shall be overturned. The people of Nineveh trusted in God, and they proclaimed a fast, and they put on sackcloth from the richest to the poorest. And the word reached the king of Nineveh, and he got up from his throne, took off his robe, put on sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he cried out and said in Nineveh, by decree of the king and his nobles, no person or beast of flock or herd shall taste anything. They shall not graze, and they shall not drink water. They shall be covered with sackcloth, person and beast, and they shall call loudly to God. Let all turn back from their evil ways and from the violence which is in their hands. Who knows, God may turn and relent, turn back from the heat of anger, so that we do not perish. And God saw what they did, how they were turning back from their evil ways, and God relented from the evil planned on them and did not carry it out. But to Jonah this was a great evil, and it made him angry. So he prayed to Adonai, saying, please, Adonai, is this not what I said when I was still in my own country? This is why I fled to Tarshish to begin with, for I knew that you are a gracious and compassionate God, endlessly patient and abounding in steadfast love, ready to repent of evil. And now, Adonai, please take my life from me, for it is better for me to die than to live. And Adonai said, is it good for you to be so angry? Then Jonah left the city and found a place east of the city and made himself a shelter there and sat under it in the shade until he might see what would become of the city. And Adonai Elohim provided a gourd and made it rise up over Jonah to give shade for his head and rescue him from his evil situation. And Jonah rejoiced with great joy because of the gourd. But at dawn the next day, God provided a worm that attacked the gourd, and it withered. And as the sun rose, God provided an oppressive wind from the east, and the sun beat down on Jonah's head, making him faint. He begged for death, saying, "Is it better for me to die than to live?" Then God said to Jonah, "Are you good and angry about the gourd?" And he said, "I am good and angry to the point of death." Then Adonai said, "You pitied the gourd, which you neither worked for nor grew, which appeared overnight and perished overnight. Should I then not have compassion for the great city of Nineveh, a place of more than 120,000 human beings, unable to tell their right hand from their left, and many beasts?" Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sur kol olamim sadik b'kol hadarot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'osei ha'medaber m'chaim shekol harav emet v'tzedech. Our God eternal, for all these gifts we thank you and bless you, Torah, worship, the books of the prophets, and this day of atonement, given to us for the sake of pardon and forgiveness, that we might make amends with honor and dignity. Let all life bless your name continually to the end of time, so that your truth will endure forever. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign, who forgives our failings and pardons the failings of your people, the house of Israel. You banish our guilt from year to year. You reign in majesty over all the earth. You sanctify the people of Israel and the Day of Atonement.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ross. What a great story. I'm going to take time right now, but I hope you'll give some time to look at it amidst the fasting and the lightheadedness. It's a really wacky story. That's not the food talking. Of a group of sinful people so eager to change that even the animals fast. It's quite comical. I mean, if you missed that part because you were glossing over, even the animals are commanded to fast. And Jonah, who would rather see the destruction than see change, sort of like the disaster movie without the big ending. He feels deprived because there is no fire and brimstone. He cries more for the tree. It is a remarkable story, made all the more remarkable because our ancestors chose it as the sacred reading on Yom Kippur afternoon. And they had something to tell us about our nature. Not the nature of us asking forgiveness, but about our ability or inability to forgive others. Human nature. And so we leave that thought of Jonah still in our minds. We turn to page 352, and we return the Torah to the ark as we rise. Torah, tree of life to those who cling to it. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, all its paths are peace.
It's tiny המחצקים ותומכי המאושר תרחי נועם וכאן נתיבותי השלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה קודש קודש ימינו קודש ימינו
Please be seated. As you know, last year we offered some congregants a chance to share and reflect and take us on a personal journey. Today, Rick Press shares with us his memories of another unique celebration and moment as he reflects on his Jewish journey. There.
Well, when Rabbi Zimmerman asked me to share a story on Yom Kippur, I hesitated. Public speaking is not my thing, as you're about to get to see. And I couldn't really recall any Yom Kippur memories other than competing with my brother to see who could fast the longest when we were kids. I still tease him that Yom Kippur was the only day of the year that he would brush his teeth so often. And I knew he was in there swallowing water just to get a little taste of something. There was that one year that I went to the University of Florida football game on Yom Kippur, and feeling very guilty, I fasted through 90-degree heat and nearly passed out. Not very proud of that one, but I'm confessing that right here. Instead, I decided to share an essay that I wrote for the Star-Telegram in 2003. It's about growing up Jewish and feeling different, but in a good way, around the holidays. It's called Mentions of the Midway. My friends and I practically grew up at Mullins Park, the suburban mecca for youth sports in Coral Springs, Florida. We knew every pothole in the outfields, every bounce of the basketball rims, every sag in the tennis nets. But the football field, that was a different story. It was hallowed ground, freshly manicured grass, powdery yardage line, and taxicab yellow goalposts. They all sent that subliminal message that said, reserved for real football players. And as much as we love football, more than bicycles and our big brothers, we were not real football players. We blamed our overprotective Jewish mothers, who flat out forbade us to play such a brutal sport. Honey, I don't want you to get hurt, they'd say, not before your bar mitzvah. Afterward would be okay, I guess. But so we grew up safe, but on the sidelines, outsiders looking in. We played pickup games in our yard and overgrown fields in the neighborhood, but the closest most of us came to getting into a real game with helmets and pads was covering it for the school paper or sitting in the bleachers delivering expert play-by-play. My buddy Jason Wormser did a dead-on Marv Albert, and I was always Howard Cosell. But one day each year, all of that changed. All of our mother's warnings were silenced, and all of our boyhood regret melted away. Oddly enough, that day was Christmas Day. It was the one time we knew the Mullins Park field would be empty, vast, and vulnerable. No Pop Warner football games, no soccer matches, no cheerleader practice, just 100 yards of unadulterated gridiron glory ripe for the taking. On Christmas Day, we would be the ones making bone-jarring tackles, catching 40-yard bombs, and dancing in the end zone. The Jew Bowl is what we called it. Politically incorrect for sure, but affectionate nonetheless. The name was a nod to what brought us together, our faith, our friendship, and the simple fact we had nothing else to do on Christmas. While most families in town were gathered around their tree unwrapping presents, we laced up our cleats and established a holiday tradition. And over the years, our annual games became epic. My senior year in high school, we were playing for hours, sometimes 11 and 11, just like real football. We employed sophisticated blocking schemes, threw flea flickers, and Jason, who went on to work for ESPN and Fox Sports, swears that he kept stats. And nowadays, whenever he talks about the greatest game ever played, he says there's Miami versus San Diego, the Ice Bowl, but nothing compares to the 82 Jew Bowl. We were experiencing South Florida's version of a white Christmas that year, light rain with temperatures in the mid-40s, and shortly after 10 a.m., the players began assembling at midfield. Clad in wool hats, gloves, and unflattering sweats, we weren't exactly monsters of the Midway. Some of us were academic all-stars, MVPs of the SATs, but very few of us could ever be accused of looking like real football players. We had met freshman year of high school after joining the Temple youth group called Palmach. Together, we came of age. It was easy to feel invisible in high school, particularly for someone like me who fell somewhere between the freaks and the geeks on the social spectrum. But when the men of Palmach got together wearing black and gold jackets with the Wile E. Coyote logo on the back, we felt pretty cool, even if nobody else thought we were. Shoeless John Cohen was our most gifted athlete. A skinny but scrappy tailback, he often played barefoot to dart away from would-be tacklers and showcase his natural ability. Jason, the resident sports savant, could mimic any quarterback's drop-back style, from Namath to Greasy. And boy, could he sling it, but he couldn't complete a short pass to save his life. I was the polar opposite. My arm was as accurate as a court transcript, as long as the receiver was within spitting distance. Before we huddled up, we painstakingly chose teams to produce the best game. Jason and I were opposing QBs, and Cohen was on my team. Jason got Stank, a tough-as-nails, hygiene-challenged fullback who wore a T-shirt that hadn't been washed since the late 50s. Despite our mothers, we always played tackle without pads, and that made Stank and his stench a very valuable commodity. Jason also got Jeff Gold, a 17-year-old giant with an afro and a mustache. He would have been a real weapon if he hadn't been a complete klutz. And Scott Cheese Solomon, a prototypical offensive lineman, was on my team. He earned the nickname Cheese because he was known to eat an entire cheese pizza by himself and then wash it down with a pitcher of Tab. All right, if anybody remembers Tab. Pretty terrible. I also got Elliot Komaroff, the nicest kid on the planet and perhaps the least athletic. He had the body of a 40-year-old when he was 15, Cohen said years later, and that's putting it nicely. Elliot came out more for the camaraderie than for the football, but he never missed a game. It was just the thing we did on Christmas Day. It's funny how after 20 years, some memories completely vanish and others stay lodged in your brain. I remember playing the full length of the field that day, but I can't remember the first 7 touchdowns we scored. I remember the feel of the mud, cold and pulpy, the first time I was tackled, but I can't remember all the guys who were on my team. The game was a seesaw affair, a classic and honest-to-goodness sports cliche. We played our hearts out. We gave 110%, et cetera, you know. And nobody wanted the game to end. 4 hours after we started, with the score 49-49, it was decided, next score wins. Rumor had it Jason would get grounded if he wasn't home by 3. On the next possession, Jason, who had been completing bombs all day to the fleet-footed receiver Mark Porras, connected on another perfect spiral, and Porras was driven out of bounds at the 10-yard line. We dug in for a goal line stand, and almost on cue, the rain started coming down harder. The first 3 downs went by in a blur of overthrows and flops in the mud. On 4th and goal, Jason noticed a mismatch. Elliot Komaroff, at barely 5 foot 6 inches tall, covering Jeff Gold, a.k.a. Andre the Giant. If Jeff could stay upright and hold on to the ball, which was a big if, it would be an easy score. So doing his best Joe Theismann, Jason faded back, looked left, and saw Gold. He did not see Elliot Komaroff. The Jewish Rudy stepped in front of the receiver, pulled the sopping wet pigskin tight to his chest, and took off running. We were all so stunned, nobody gave chase, opponents and teammates alike. We just stood there in the rain, watching Elliot Komaroff gallop 100 yards into the end zone and Jew Bowl history. The annual games continued for a few years after that. Sometimes we even broke with tradition and played on Thanksgiving too, Jews and Gentiles alike. We were never recaptured the magic of the 82 matchup. Many of us went away to college and wandered back to Mullins Park on Christmases for one more day on that pristine field. And over the years, age robbed us of our athletic ability, limited as it might be. Cohen, who manages a successful brokerage firm in Palm Beach, recently joked, "Now when we fall down, we stay down." But Jason, who has covered World Series and Super Bowls, still lights up whenever he talks about the game. He says, "Are you kidding me? I do still have the stats." And he did get grounded. I called Elliot recently just to see if the catch had, in some small way, made a difference in his life. And I expected him to be able to recount every frozen moment, much like I did for you here, and he barely remembered it. He said, "Wow, I did something good on the football field," he laughed. "I'm gonna have to go home and tell my wife about that." He did remember the games, though, and because of them, Christmas became one of our favorite holidays. Thanks. After this ran in the Star-Telegram, I got a lot of response. Two things. One, telling me that the plural of menches is actually mention, which I knew, but there were always a lot of people who wanted to tell me that. And the other was invites to play in all sorts of football games of kids like myself. And so in 2001, I went out to the JCC in Dallas and got to play in the game, and I wanted to be known that I dominated in that game. Thanks.
Our worship is a time of collective memory and personal memory. We think back through the ages. We know the prayers speak about Abraham and Sarah and the first Jews, but we know that we are walking through our own parents and grandparents, our childhoods, our connections, the foundations on which we hope to build, the stories that defined our identity, often from the most unlikely of places. Page 356. We rise for the Avot.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Gotta lie, lie, lie. 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 Adonai Sefer Tiftach Ufi Agita Hilatecha. Adonai, I open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. So I may declare your praise. Gotta lie, lie, lie. 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivcha Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol וצורכך שדה אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה.
זוכרנו לחיים, מלך החפץ בחיים, וכתבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה Adonai, Magen Abraham be'ezrat Sarah. Blessed are you in our lives, Adonai, shield of Abraham, sustainer of Sarah. We turn to page 365. Ata Gibor le'olam Adonai, we read together at the top of the page. You are the power that never diminishes and never subsides. From you we draw Givuro, our inner core of strength. Strength to rise at dawn when hungry babies cry. Strength to rise before the aged parent to bring care and dignity. Strength to give patience to a child whose needs overwhelm us. Strength to hold and heal a spouse in pain. To give love without losing hope. Strength to survive a job that is stressful and unrewarding. Strength to endure months or years without work and purpose. Strength to face crises, strength to surmount everyday hurdles. Strength to keep practicing and exercising, trying mightily in spite of failure. Strength to do what is called for, even when it is hard. Strength to do what is right, even when others do not. Ata Gibor le'olam Adonai, your power is with us always, in our human stamina and resilience, in our determination to persevere, in the discipline to set limits and make choices, in the fortitude to be true to our principles. Blessed is Givurah, the will to act with courage, the gift of inner strength. We turn to page 368.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כי שם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר. Adirenu, Adonai, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir Shimcha, Bechol haaretz. Avinu, Malkeinu, Moshienu, Vehu Yashmienu, Berachamav le'enei kol chai, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai.
L'dor v'dor nagid godlacha l'netzach netzachim kedushacha nagdish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed. Ki el melech gadol v'kadosh ata. The Eternal shall reign for all time, your God for all generations. Hallelujah. We will teach your goodness, your greatness, the door by door. From generation to generation and to the end of time, we will affirm your holiness. Our God, your praise shall ever be on our lips, for your power is boundless, sovereign, and holy. Please be seated. We turn to page 371.
Judaism, my child, is a struggle to bring God down to earth, a struggle for the sanctification of the human heart. This struggle your people wages not with physical force, but with spirit, with sincere, heartfelt prayers, and by constant striving for peace and justice. So do you understand, my child, how we are distinct from the others and wherein lies the secret of our existence on earth? Knowing this, will your heart still be heavy, my child? Will you still say you cannot stand your fate? But you must, my child, for so were you commanded. It is your calling. This is your mission, your purpose on earth. You must go to work alongside peoples of other nations, and you will teach them that they must come to a brotherhood of nations and to a union of all nations with God. You may ask, how does one speak to them? This is how. Thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet, love thy neighbor as thyself. Do these things, and through their merit, my child, you will be victorious.
We continue on page 384.
Our God and God of the generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness. Together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace on this day of atonement.
May we be remembered for love and compassion. Rabbi Shimon taught, do not regard yourself as worthless. Hara Shimon, source of mercy. Teach me the art of a compassionate gaze. Show me how to be patient and forgiving, kind and encouraging, loving and understanding, generous in spirit when faced with imperfection. Help me to extend love and compassion to my own imperfect soul. Help me to embrace these truths. I share the lot of all human beings. I am not alone in my failings. Whatever I have done, I am loved and valued by you, worthy of love, capable of goodness. Do not let me slip into self-loathing or despair. As I ask for your remembrance, I commit myself to remember. Self-compassion is not self-indulgence. It is not an excuse for bad behavior or an impediment to my growth. Harsh self-rebuke will not make me more gentle with others. On this holy day, I hold fast to these words of Torah. Be loving to your neighbor as you are to yourself.
Page 386. Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova, ufakdenu vo livracha, v'hoshienu vo l'chaim. Eternal our God, remember us and be mindful of us. and redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing. One of the treasures of this book is so many, many readings. And so let's take a few moments just of silence, some quiet time. You can look anywhere, of course, but specifically between here and 403, there are a number of different kinds of readings that speak of the nature of this day and of our lives. And as you look through them, especially at some of the poems that are in gray and blue bold, take some time for silent reflection. Let's read together on page 406. Let there be love, let there be peace, grant goodness, blessing, and grace, constancy and compassion to us and all Israel, your people. Avinu, bless and unite all human beings in the light of your presence. For your light has shown us a holy path for living, devotion to love, generosity, blessedness, mercy, life, and peace. In your goodness, bless your people Israel with peace at all times. Let us and the whole family of Israel be remembered and inscribed in the book of life. May it be a life of goodness, blessing, and prosperity. May it be a life of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Oseh HaShalom. You are the Blessed One, eternal source of shalom.
Shalom.
So before I call up Nancy Schwartz, whose family is involved in volunteering in so many ways and in so many hours, she wrote me back and said, "I did it. Thank you for asking me to speak." And then her opening words even talked about the fact that it was her son's bar mitzvah in 4 days. And I went, oh my gosh, what a putz. I asked her to speak in front of the congregation 3 days before her son's bar mitzvah. And yet still she did it. So with all hates to Nancy, thank you for sharing some of your Jewish journey with us.
I'll actually skip my opening paragraph since Rabbi covered it for me. So I was very honored by the experience being asked to speak today in front of you all. And I wasn't quite sure what to say because I was thinking about what I'm going to say on Saturday when Noah becomes a bar mitzvah. But when Rabbi started to speak on Erev Rosh Hashanah, it became clear what I could talk about. Rabbi Zimmerman shared his dream about the ghost of Rosh Hashanah past and talked about the gift of time. How the ghost of Rosh Hashanah past suggested that what his congregation valued most was more time. The gift Rabbi could give us back was time, thanks to a shorter sermon. What could we all do with 10 more minutes, with 600 more seconds? For many of us with busy lives juggling multiple priorities, your mind might spring to things that you can cross off your to-do list. That's initially where my mind went. As a working mom with 3 kids and a host of demands, much of daily life comes down to logistics. Who needs to be where when, groceries from the store, presentations for work, youth group events, bar mitzvah presentations. I could go on for more than 600 seconds about Schwartz logistics. But the rabbi's words made me pause as he described ways to use those 10 minutes, connecting with loved ones, another family dinner, a phone call to a distant friend, meaningful moments. I wondered, could I find deeper meaning behind the logistics I juggle daily? Can I make time for more meaningful moments? So when I reflected beyond the normal work, family, and household tasks, I was able to find the deeper meaning and connection behind my activities. It ties to the importance I place on the Jewish community and trying to exemplify the values of living Jewishly to my kids. For me, as a child growing up in New Jersey, it was easy to be Jewish. There were many kids in my class who were Jewish, schools closed for the Jewish holidays, kosher delis and Jewish boys were easy to find, and there was an awareness and acceptance of Judaism that didn't require explanation. Jewish holiday and celebrations centered around food and family, recipes from my Nana and others passed down generation to generation. So rewind to 5 years ago when Stephen and I moved our family to Texas. I remember our first weekend on a quest for good bagels, a quest I compare to Moses wandering in the desert, as only people raised on New York bagels can really understand. As the kids started school and the high holidays came around, back to school night was scheduled on Erev Yom Kippur, unheard of in New Jersey. It was then I began to realize how important it was to actively engage in Jewish life in a way I never needed to before. It started with junior youth group. Jordan was in 8th grade and had been very involved in youth group prior to moving. Initially at Congregation Beth Israel, there was no active junior youth group. So Stephen and I began to plan events and encourage kids, the congregation, to participate. It was our first exposure of how challenging it can be to engage kids in Jewish programs when you're competing with football, band, academic extracurricular activities, and other more exciting non-religious events, activities that colleges recognize and value on college applications. Knowing how important it was to Jordan and how this was going to be the only way to ensure my kids were able to build Jewish friendships, we continued our efforts. Sending our children to Green Family Camp was another way to help them meet other Jewish kids. When we transitioned to Beth-El, it was so easy to join Mark Sloter and continue my role as advisor for the junior youth group here, taking time each month to find new events that 6th, 7th, and 8th graders would be interested in, battling the priorities between secular and religious activities, my own and theirs. In addition to providing my children with a Jewish environment of friends, social and religious functions, I realized I had a deeper obligation to be a role model on how to live Jewishly, beyond just the holiday celebrations and preparation of Jewish foods. When I was selected to participate in the first Federation Leadership Program, I knew this was the opportunity to demonstrate this to them, The leadership group learned about the history of Fort Worth Jews, the complexity of Federation programming and fundraising, and importantly, how each of us can help contribute to the identity and richness of our local Jewish community. The program was a springboard to becoming involved beyond the youth group, volunteering on different Federation committees. I also gained exposure to a unique program, Partnership Together, an initiative that helps build relationships with the Western Galilee and Israel through a range of educational and social programs. An opportunity, as Rabbi shared this morning, to strengthen your love and feel and experience Israel firsthand. This experience has awakened a deep love of Israel and its people across the partnership who have become friends, who I welcome into my home when they visit, and where I know the same will be reciprocated when I travel abroad. I want to shout out today to Trent, who's here. I met him through the Building Bridges program in April. He recently began a master's program at Texas A&M, and I asked him if he wanted to come and celebrate the Jewish holidays with us, since he's away from his Indianapolis Jewish community. It's a great example of the types of relationships that can be formed. So as I continue to engage, these things become less to-dos and more an integral part of my life. As I reflect on the impact my actions have had on my children, the jury's still out. At 18, 15, and 13, each of my children will be faced with his or her own decisions to live Jewishly. I'm encouraged that Jordan, who started her freshman year at OU, made friends and reached out to nifty members that she knew and checked out what was going on at Hillel on campus. Time will tell. However, I can feel confident I've made the effort to embed Jewishness in their lives. So as I take the rabbi's words to heart and move beyond logistics, I recognize that there can be deeper meaning in those 10 extra minutes beyond your own to-do list, ways in which each of us can make a small difference to build the vibrancy of our Jewish community, to help those who are unconnected connect, and to ensure there is a community here in Fort Worth for the long term. These steps can be as simple as grabbing coffee with another religious school parent Sunday morning instead of just dropping the kids off. It can be baking challah together in preparation for the holidays with friends or with the WRJ, or even just lighting the Sabbath candles at home on Friday night. For me, making time for these to-dos reassures me that I'm doing my part in passing on Jewish traditions and values to the next generation. Thank you.
Well done. And now Noah knows he's no excuses. He'll be ready on Saturday. Our service continues on page, I stand corrected, 410. We continue on page 412.
As parents show tenderness to their children, may you show mercy to those who worship you. Like the heavens that tower above the earth, your love is powerful for those who revere you. Liberation is a gift from God, a blessing upon your people. You are the God of all we can perceive, our haven, the God of Yaakov, and you are the God of all that is beyond our perception. The one who has faith in you is fortunate. Sovereign God, show us the way to freedom. Answer us on this day of our calling out to you. Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love.
Turn to page 416, and we rise. Once again, Vidui Zuta, the short confession. Eloheinu v'Elahei avotenu v'imotenu, ta'avo lefanecha tefilatenu, v'yal titalem mitchinatenu. Anachnu azei panim ukshe oref lomar lefanecha, Adonai Eloheinu v'Elahei avotenu v'imotenu. Tzadikim anachnu v'lo chatanu, aval anachnu chatanu. Together, our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 Ashamnu, Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Gazalnu. Di barnu dofi, di barnu dofi, ya 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 Hevinu, Hevinu, v'hirshanu. Ve'irshanu, Zadnu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Chamasnu, Talfanu sheker, Talfanu sheker, ay, 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 ay. Yeah, 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 Yatnura, Kizavnu, Latnu, Maradnu, Niatnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Tsararnu, Kishinu oref, ay, Rashanu, Shichatnu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Tiavnu, Tianu, Tiainu, Titanu, Titanu, Yai, 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 yai.
Together of these wrongs we are guilty. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely, we are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander, we devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes, we are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. Please be seated as we turn to page 418. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha, bezagdon uvishgaga. Together, the ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake,
and harm we have caused in your world through insincere promises.
The ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters. The ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through condescension. The ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths. The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor. The ways we have wronged you by hating without cause, and harm we have caused in your world through hypocrisy. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Ve'al kulam elos lichot salach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu Mechalanu, salach lanu, mechalanu, kaper lanu.
Al chet shachatanu lefanecha begalui uvasater. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha bivli dat. We continue together. The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world through our thoughtlessness. The ways we have wronged you by profaning your name in public,
and
harm we have caused in your world through offensive speech. The ways we have wronged you through gossip and rumor, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. The ways we have wronged you through narrow-mindedness, and the harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and the harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink. The ways we have wronged you by betraying trust, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Al kulam elos lichot salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu
And yet the authors of this prayer book, as they added new readings to the ancient ones collected over hundreds of years, knew that we tried, that our prayers could not on a note end only of despair. For late in the afternoon on Yom Kippur, we begin to look upward. Even as we continue to pray for forgiveness, we think of what we have and can do. Page 424, we read responsively. God, our Creator and Guide, let us reflect on the holy acts by which we bring you into our lives, the acts of repair that make you a living presence in our words and deeds.
Acts of healing we have done by judging others with compassion, and acts of repair we have done through rigorous self-judgment.
Acts of healing we have done through kindness to parents and children, and acts of repair we have done through loyalty to spouses, partners, and friends.
Acts of healing we have done through self-discipline and self-restraint, and acts of repair we have done by ridding ourselves of destructive behavior.
Acts of healing we have done by seeing the holy in the ordinary, and acts of repair we have done by taking upon ourselves sacred obligations.
Acts of healing we have done by seeking forgiveness, and acts of repair we have done by forgiving others.
Acts of healing we have done by turning in love toward Zion, and acts of repair we have done by supporting the state of Israel.
Acts of healing we have done by receiving life as a blessing and a gift, and acts of repair we have done by expressing gratitude and appreciation.
Acts of healing we have done by listening with an open mind to those we love, and acts of repair we have done by making our homes shelters of safety and peace.
For all of these bring nearer the day when you shall be one and your name shall be one.
We turn to page 426 and we rise as we look to the words of Avinu Malkeinu. Responsively, Avinu Malkeinu, as Joseph wept and opened a forgiving heart to his brothers, let our hearts be open to those who ask our forgiveness.
Avinu Malkeinu, as the high priest entered the innermost shrine to atone, let our acts of teshuvah touch our innermost life.
Avinu Malkeinu, as Jonah cried out to God, I thought I was driven away. Let us reach for the divine from the depths of our being.
Avinu Malkeinu, as you said to Moses and Israel, you shall be holy, for I am holy. Let us affirm today, we shall pursue holiness in our everyday lives, revering mother and father, providing for the poor, rising before the aged, loving neighbor and stranger as ourselves.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. We turn to page 428. Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful,
we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu ein lanu melech ela ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu aseh imanu lema'an shemecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu chadesh aleinu shana tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu zachor ki afar anachnu.
Avinu Malkeinu, remember we are but dust of the earth.
Avinu Malkeinu tehei hasha'ah azot sha'at rachamim ve'et ratzon milfanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let this hour in your presence be a time of compassion and acceptance.
Avinu Malkeinu chamol aleinu yal ol aleinu v'tapenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families.
Avinu Malkeinu aseh lema'an tuvuchim al yichidun.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for the sake of those slain for their devotion to you.
Avinu Malkeinu aseh lema'an harugim al shem kadshecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for the sake of those killed because they were Jews.
Avinu Malkeinu aseh lema'an ba'e va'esh uvamayim al kiddush Hashem.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for the sake of those who suffered fire and water to sanctify your name.
Avinu Malkeinu chanenu va'anenu ki'en banu ma'asim aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love. Page 430, we read together. Aleinu, ours the duty to listen, and ours the duty to praise. Ours is the duty to respond to what we hear, to raise questions, to build houses of study in which to ask them, to praise the Creator for creating, to praise the Creator for rest, to praise the God of Torah for the challenge of Torah, to praise the God of eternity for every hour, every day, to plant and build, to seek peace and pursue it. Ours the duty to do justice, ours the duty to be Israel, to fix the broken, to open doors of hope, to bow before a commanding power that speaks to us from Sinai, from history, from deep within the heart. Hear, O Israel, it is not our duty to complete the work, but you may not turn away.
Aleinu l'shabeach le'adon akol latet gedula le'otzeh Bereshit shelo עשנו כגויי הארצות, שלא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך
Page 433. And so, Adonai, our God, we look to you, hoping soon to behold the splendor of your power revealed, a world free of idolatry and false gods, a world growing more perfect through divine governance, a world in which all human beings make known your name, while those who do evil turn toward you instead. For on that day God shall be one, and God's name shall be one. We turn to page 510. As we prepare to conclude this service, a reminder that after a short break, Yisker will continue here, followed by Ne'ilah, our closing service. And then, of course, all are invited to a break the fast here at the congregation after Havdalah, after we have made the transition from sacred to profane. Long ago, one word on the lips of one person in one place at one moment brought together 4 dimensions of the holy. When the high priest would enter the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur and utter the name of God, and now every place where we lift our eyes to God is a Holy of Holies. Created in the image of God, we are all high priests. Every day of our life lived in love is a Yom Kippur. Every day that we speak in truth is the name of God. We pray from the Holy of Holy in our hearts. Our God and God of all generations before us, may it be your will in the coming year to grant us, we continue responsively, a year of abundance and atonement,
a year of blessings bestowed and received,
a year of community and compassion,
a year of delight and exaltation,
a year of enlightenment,
a year of friendship and forgiveness,
a year of going up in gladness to the land of Israel,
a year of health and healing and humor,
a year of inner strength and well-being,
a year of joy and Jewish celebration,
a year of knowledge and learning for its own sake,
a year of love between parents and children, friends and spouses, brothers and sisters,
a year of mitzvot and moments of sweetness,
a year of nature protected and enjoyed,
a year of optimism and hope,
a year of peace pursued with perseverance,
a year of quiet and tranquility,
a year of rain in its season,
a year of song and spiritual growth,
a year of Torah study and tikkun olam,
a year of understanding and unity,
a year of vows fulfilled and violence overcome,
a year of wisdom acquired and shared,
a year of coexistence among the families of the earth,
a year of young and old reaching out to one another,
a year of Zion aglow with light for us and all the world.
Eloheinu ve'Elohei Dorotenu, bifros shana chadasha al olamecha, our God and God of generations before us, grant us a year of gratitude to you for the most profound of blessings, your gift of life.
Amen. We will see you all at 4 o'clock.